if you spend any time in real combat, your brain is not the same brain that you were born with. It's physically different. The chemistry is different, the wiring is different, and the VA is treating it like you have a mood problem. So this comes from me when I started working with veterans. I filled out this thing for a brain clinic. We were at the um, Soft Care Coalition conference, and this doctor presented, and he was talking about traumatic brain injury and what vets go through. And keep in mind, this is probably 2014 timeframe, so I'm about a couple years out, about a year and a half to 2 years out, and a fellow recon Marine had gone through this thing, and they told his story, and I was like blown away. And I remembered this guy, and so I implied, I said, hey, I think a lot of veterans would be beneficial to go through this process, and so I submitted my information to get more information, and they called me back, and they're like, hey, we went through your thing, and we think that you should come to the brain clinic. This is in Texas. And I was like, no, I think you misunderstood. I think I was just like inquiring so I could send guys to you to get treatment. They're like, yeah, but we looked at your stuff, and you need to be here by Monday. And so, I pushed back a little bit, and they talked me into it, and nonetheless, I did, and I was a wreck. And honestly, it was the first time after going through onboarding and then going through the first day of therapy. It was the first time that I had slept. So this was 2014. It was the first time I slept through an 8-hour time frame of sleep since 2009. So from 2009 to 2014, I didn't have a good night's sleep, and that was like the first start of recovery for my brain. And once I went through that 2-week inpatient brain clinic, it like changed my life completely. I learned about hormones. I learned about how TBI affects your pituitary gland and your endocrine system. I like your cortisol, I mean, everything. And it was life changing. And that's the reason why that I want to bring it up. So this is what 20 years of potential combat stress actually looks like under a scan. Just, not a feeling, not a mood, not a measurable problem that people are just doubling down with SSRIs and pain pills, et cetera. And so one, the three things here are, one is your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal. So like the way those three things, your stress system, the way those three things work together. And that chain is that releases cortisol when you're under threat, right? So what happens then is, in a combat situation, this chain fires every day for years, and it unfortunately, it doesn't shut off when you come home. And so that's the reason why guys, feel like they're in this constant fight situation in life, and then they're with their wife, and they're just not able to down regulate. And it's not something they can physically do. It's not something they can just say, oh, I'm going to down regulate. It's like your brain cortisol stays high. Your testosterone production drops in that. So now your sleep situation breaks. Your recovery starts to happen. So this isn't like I'm a weak guy, like I'm just falling apart. And that's what I had to learn. I was like, when I was younger and not educated, I thought, well, if you're having these problems, it's just not built for you. And that's just simply not the case. This is just, like I said, this isn't weakness. This is biology doing exactly what it's supposed to do in a response from an extreme stressful environment for a very long period of time. So that's one thing. Your stress system is just completely overworked, and you can't down regulate that. That's why things like the bilateral stellate ganglion block has been super successful. It's the things like getting your hormones and getting that stress system under control has paid off so much. And the things that don't pay off, unfortunately, that are getting pushed the most are SSRIs and pain pills. That's just compounding the problem. So we're just chasing symptoms like everything else. So the second thing is actual physical blast exposure, or TBI. So this is what I learned going to the clinic is every breach. He's like, how many breaches have you been on? Because, just to rewind a little bit, I've never been blown up in a truck. So like what happens to most veterans is like, well, I didn't have anything. I didn't step on an IED. I didn't get my truck blown up. I mean, Have we had a few rocks? Yeah, sure. I've had IEDs go off close to me. I've been rocked several times, but that to me, I'm comparing it to people who have some severe physical trauma, and that's the wrong thing to do. And that's what the doctor there was breaking down for me. And he's like, how many breaches have you had? How many flashbangs went off by your feet? How many times have you fired, a shoulder fired weapon? How many 50 cals went off while you were in a gun truck? If you've ever been inside of a gun truck, when a 50 cal goes off, it's it's a lot. How many parachute openings have you had? And all of these different things lead to, like, they're micro traumas that build over a long period of time. So like the mild traumatic brain injury accumulates, right? So you don't feel it on day one, you feel it 10 years later as irritability, fog, word recall problems, etc. One of the times, me and Josh, we were the primary PSO. We were primary safety officers for this range in Yuma, and I forget the TM. The field manual says like one to three AT4s in a matter of 24 hours, and I don't know why we had all these AT4s, but we had to get rid of them, and so we let the guys run through and shoot these AT4s, and we were the primary safety officers, so we were right there next to them while they're shooting and I think we both shot like 24 PSO'd 24 AT4s. So we're standing right next to AT4s in a matter of maybe a couple hours. We just cycled through, and I remember getting in the truck and I felt like the insides of my body were just liquid, and they were just vibrating, and I was like, man, I don't feel so good. And anyways, no idea that would later contribute to mild traumatic brain injuries over a long period of time. But yeah, don't do that. And then number 3 is obviously, so you've got your HPA access, your stress system, and then you've got blast exposure and TBI, and like actual micro TBIs. And then the next thing is going to be the sleep disruption. And I don't mean like just bad sleep. I mean years of operating at like 4 hours of sleep, or maybe you get 6 hours of sleep, but it's, you're waking up every single hour. A pin drops in the room, and you can wake up, you're sleeping really light, you're staying hypervigilant. And the thing is like multiple deployment rotations, and you're changing environments and you're changing time zones, and it just breaks your circadian rhythm. And doing that over a long period of time has affect you. So like REM sleep is when your brain repairs itself. And so when you're not getting REM, like in these situations, like I was 2009 to 2014, like things start to degrade. So if that repair is not happening, then you're physically degrading based off of this sleep. And that's the reason why sleep is so important. And listen, I get it. When you're in the job, sleep's not always your number one priority. But the reality is it's going to stack against you, and the bill's going to come due sooner rather than later. So then, like, let's look at this and see what this looks like in real life long term, right? So now you've had this career. You never really you never named it, you never put a finger on it. It was just a job that you did, and you moved on with your life. And now you're a little bit older, and so let's start connecting symptoms with how your life is, right? So now the fatigue that you feel, you blame on you getting older, which, hey, listen, we're all getting older, as I get it, but you don't have to be tired all the time. So fatigue, you blame on age. Irritability, well, that's your job, and that's the stress of life, so you're irritable. You have low drive because you are just got a lot of stuff going on. You're busy, right? So you're like, well, the reason why that I'm not moving forward, I'm not doing the things that my goals that I want to set, is because I have all this life stuff going on, and so you label it as I'm just being busy, and the reason why I can't do it. The brain fog that you feel is you just accept as normal, part of aging. Marriage strain that you have going on, you guys are just not in sync, and there's a little bit of tug of war there, and maybe a power struggle. It's just frustration and strain. You blame on communication problems. And I don't feel that these are separate issues. I think that they're all the same issues with different faces. Like, so, your life isn't broken. Your body's not, not broken. It's responding to rational. It's your body is responding to rational to extreme conditions that have just lasted very like way too long, and we've just let them go for because we're told to suck it up and it's the job and etc. So like rationally, your body's is responding the way it should to you doing that job for so long. And then what is the VA's response to this? Of course, well, you walk into the VA, you walk into the doctor, whatever it may be, and you're like, hey, this is the situation that I feel. This is what's going on. You say you have no energy, no drive. My marriage is struggling. So what do? You guys know, I know. Next thing you know, you got a handful of antidepressants and potentially pain pills because your body's hurting. But did they do a hormone panel? No. Did they run a brain assessment? No. They talk about blast exposure. Do they even want to get into the TBI conversation? No, absolutely. So you get what I get. You get the VA starter kit. I mean, I walked in, literally checked in, barely said a word, man. And next thing I know, I walked out with a bag full of pills. I mean, I'm talking like I had Ambien, I had Prazosin to erase my dreams, which is an adrenal killer, by the way, if you didn't know that. Ambien, which just puts you to sleep. You don't actually improve REM or deep sleep with Ambien. Zoloft, Adderall to wake up, Tramadol for the pain, literally all at once. Like I'm talking Ambien, Prazosin, Zoloft, Adderall, Tramadol, and I'm sure I had more than that, but like I had all of those in a bag like that. Trying to get any sort of care where it comes from, chiropractic care, anything holistic, getting your hormone panel done, physical therapy, anything like that is like pulling teeth. But I could walk out of the VA at any time with any of those things. And that's how they're treating hormonal and neurological problems like it's a psychiatric issue. And so they're treating those issues with psychiatric medication. And I don't think it's done maliciously on their level. I don't think that it's done maliciously on their level. I think that what it is the system is working exactly the way that it was built, with the training that they had. So what I would suggest you guys look at doing with this, what addressing it actually looks like to me is a full hormone panel. Not just total testosterone, but your free, your SHBG, your cortisol, your thyroid, your PSA, everything that's going on, plus all of that, plus your CBC metabolic panel and what's going on with your overall health there. And then I would suggest, getting your brain assessed. If you have a TBI or you have all the things that I talked about, like let's get your brain assessed and talk to a neurologist or see an outside brain clinic that has so many for veterans and first responders and people who live this lifestyle, right? Let's do the actual treatment that addresses the root, not a symptom. And if you're taking these pills, then you're just addressing symptoms, and that's the reason why things aren't really getting better. So for me, the two things that really saved my life when it comes to years of combat stress or traumatic brain injury or this thing is two things: was a full hormone panel, getting my hormones regulated, and then also getting my brain assessed. And so like my work that I do with CORE, having physician-led, veteran-focused protocols that they understand the background of what people go through in that lifestyle is absolutely crucial. And so I suggest you get that sorted. If you don't use us, then you use somebody that does the job the right way. And I really truly mean the right way. If they're just giving you a testosterone shot once a week, that ain't it. If they're not looking at the full 28 panel blood test, that ain't it either. You have to look at the full picture. And so that's the reason why very few actually do. So again, as far as the VA, we're working very diligently. You should probably have seen this in some of the other videos, but we're working very diligently to work with the VA community care, to be a community care provider for testosterone and hormone optimization for veterans. So if we can get there, then veterans can access proper hormonal care under their VA benefits with Core Medical. So there's a link below to have that study done, so you can fill that out and be part of that survey for the VA, and that we submit to them. So the more data that we get, the better better the case is. And things are looking very, very good. They're going to roll out some pilot programs, and that, I mean, we're going to save a ton of people's lives. So that's how the data is getting collected. It takes 5-10 minutes, and kind of go from there. But guys, be your own advocate. At the end of the day, like, you have to be your own advocate. They are not going to take care of you the way that you deserve to be taken care of unless you be your own advocate. And so things like, you have to demand these things. You have to demand the right blood work. The links are below. I can give you the one for the labs, and I'll give you the one for the veteran survey in the description below. So take the 15 minutes, do that. At the end of the survey, if you want to talk to somebody about what a proper protocol looks for you or getting blood work done, you have the opportunity to do so, but no pressure if you don't. And that's it, guys. At the end of the day, the biggest thing that I'll tell you is be your own advocate. Get your brain sorted. Get your hormones checked. Do not allow yourself to live on SSRIs and pain pills, because there is a better way. Love you. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Remember to like it. Remember to drop me a comment. I want to respond to it. I'm actually the one responding to the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to absolutely love this one right here.